Hi, everybody. I want to share a few thoughts today with you about the idea of dealing with some of the ups and downs of life. I've had a number of believers that have said to me that they're feeling really kind of under it right now, that this feels like a dark time. And there's something to that, I think. But I wanted to take just an example out of the life of Moses that I was contemplating this morning as I was listening to a message. A question came to me. What happened to Moses between the time that he was in Pharaoh's house as one of the leading people of the entire nation to the time that God had called him to go and rescue his people from the clutches of Pharaoh in Egypt? During that time when Moses was living in Pharaoh's house, he had the finest of everything, the best food, the best clothing, the best housing, the best education. He was described as a man who was very well spoken, and he wrote poetry and things like that, very highly trained in the art of literature. And then you fast forward for a time and you see Moses out in the middle of the desert. He went from the very highest of life to the lowest of life. In that time, being a shepherd was about as low as you could go. And that's exactly what Moses did. He did for 40 years. He spent time working in Jethro's tribe, working with his flocks and being a shepherd and contemplating. And he was at Mount Horeb. And if you look up at the meaning of Horeb, it talks about being a waste place. And so Moses went from the highest of life to the very lowest of life, from high to low. And God called him. He was walking along one day and he saw this bush that was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. And turning aside to take a look at that, God began to speak to him. And he said, "Take off your shoes. This is a place that is holy." And God gave him the order at that point. He says, "I want you to go to Pharaoh and bring my people to me." Moses had an excuse. He says, "But Lord, I stutter, I stammer, I cannot speak very well." And so what happened between those two times? Well, Moses went from a time of living the high life and having the best of everything to a time where it was really dark for a long period of time. And then something happened again, that God transformed him. When Moses surrendered to God's plan, God spoke to him, God led him, God blessed him. And I feel like the same thing is available to us today, that even though this may feel like a dark time, I want you to take strength from the Lord and take strength from the example of Moses, that he became one of the greatest leaders of all time. And he did so having been resurrected from the lowest place, the lowest of the low. And God used him powerfully to deliver the children of Israel from the clutch of Pharaoh. He can use you too, and he can use us. So I just want to encourage you, encourage yourself in the Lord, allow God to speak to you, and I pray that you will have that burning bush kind of an experience where God gets a hold of you, he speaks to you, and he gives you strength, and he gives you a voice that will be effective. God bless you.